family finances has proven important to both scholars and to family finance practitioners who help families attain their financial goals, especially in this current state of high economic inflation, which brings us to our talk of the day. Hello and welcome to Islamic Finance Weekly. I am Rahma Say Muhammad. And on today's episode, we'll be talking about how non-interest finance can support family finance in times of economic uncertainties. And joining me on the show today is not just one guest, but two guests. And joining me on the show today in the studio is Sulaiman Zainab Olaitan, the Public Relations Analyst, Marble Capital Limited, and also the co-founder, Gohard Movement and Wemind Foundation. Hello, Olaitan. Welcome on the show.
Hello, Rahma. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming to the studio, and I'm glad we're doing this together.
It's a pleasure to be here once again.
Okay, and joining us virtually is also Hajia Madeenat Olushola, the Managing Director, Aventurine Travels Consult, and Wemooove Children Adventure Charity Foundation. Assalamu alaikum. Hello, Hajia. Welcome on the show.
Walaikum salam, Rahma. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for doing this with us. All right, let's delve right into our conversation of today. Today is rather a deliberative or a conversational program. So we'll be talking about how, families or how non-interest finance can support family finance in times of, especially in times of this economic uncertainties, that is high inflation. So our first talk of today is us highlighting personal experiences with family finances. How would you say you've been coping and navigating expenses in this high inflation state of the economy? Let's hear firsthand experiences from you both. I think we start with you.
Oh, why do you have to start with me? I feel like the more you try to find answers to this kind of questions, the more you realize everything is just in a fast forward motion. Everything is moving, nothing is stable. You can't compare the inflation rate as of last year or maybe even a month ago to what you have today as of this morning. Right. And I believe, in fact, the Labour Congress is on strike right now because of the current economic state of things. Things are getting more expensive. The salary is not going higher. Even aside salary earners, even people that have businesses have to adjust to the current state of things, which is not fixated. So most definitely it has been difficult, most especially when it comes to consumables, commodities, transportation, fueling, and everything. So I think we need to find a balance at this point as to where to have a meeting point between the economic state of things, earnings and returns and exchange, and how all those things are going to fit into what we are dealing with right now, which is a very high inflation rate, most especially as a track record in Nigeria right now.
Right, true. Thank you for that. Let's hear from our mother, Hajia Madeenat. Please, let's hear your experience.
Yeah, right now, the instability in the price of things is something that can't just be imagined. However, he that fails to plan plans to fail. So whether we like it or not, we just have to plan. How do you plan? When the children start coming, when you get married, you just have to have a plan in place. Although most times the plans are never perfect. However, they are better than not having at all. So when you have kids, or when you plan to have kids, you must have a budget. And the budget comes with planning, having accounts, all right, having some savings set aside. These days, you can't really predict what prices you will meet on food items, clothing, and all that. But when you have some backup in terms of savings, you are better than someone that just wakes up and says, okay, whatever today brings is what I will go about. No. Right. So it's very important that we just plan. So my emphasis today will be on you plan and you are deliberate about your planning. And that has to do with the savings that you put into it.
Yeah, I mean, I love the fact that you mentioned planning. So talking about planning, let's talk about investment options families can tap from into the non-interest finance space. I mean, especially you, Olaitan, who is a Marble Capital, and you deal with investment and savings plans for people, especially families. I'm sure you have, something special or, more knowledge to share with the people on how, they can explore investment options, especially in the non-interest finance space?
Okay, so to answer your question, I do have some juicy facts on that actually. And when it comes to non-interest, just for the sake of people that are watching right now, non-interest means zero interest. Not that means whatever you're going to do is probably going to be a profit sharing kind of arrangement, whereby there will be no charges as an interest on whatever investment accounts that you're creating for yourself. And the investment state right now, things are really evolving. There's more and more opportunities that are being exposed to people, most especially people that are looking into non-interest states, maybe Islamic finance, possibly. That is basically saying that whatever investments that you're putting in would align with your cognitive and your interest, that it doesn't go against your religious beliefs. So that means everything you are doing is strictly Sharia compliant, right? So we have many, many opportunities. Now you have investment plans that allow you to invest on behalf of your minors, that is your children, that is as from a young age, even at birth, you can have an investment account for your child, right? And it also has a direct, for instance, I'll give you an example of the company I work for, which is Marble Capital Limited. We do have mutual funds, right? Because of the high state of things, people might be thinking of how expensive it will be to have an investment account and how it's going to be stressful to maintain that account. So we do have a kind of, we have mutual funds, for instance. Our mutual funds, we have the Mabu Alal Commodities Funds, which is basically also those funds, let me just say, are arranged based on your risk tolerance. That is how much you're willing to tolerate risk, the level of risk. For instance, a commodities fund has a moderate risk scale, which means there's a little exposure to risk. However, it is moderate, and there are means that are put in place to mitigate those risks. So, and you have a fixed income instrument as well, which is basically a capital preservative package, which means it has very, very, very low to non-existent exposure to risk. It's just you can't compare the kind of returns. You know, the investment saying the higher the risk, the higher the returns. However, because it's like a savings plan against for your children or for yourself or for your family, it's in fact a good package, right? So you can invest on your own. You can invest as an individual. You can have a joint investment. You can have a corporate investment. And most importantly, addressing this issue, you can invest on behalf of your children. So it means even I can have a month-old baby and have an investment savings for that kind of child, which means rather than putting the money in a bank and all this, I know we in Nigeria, oh my God, we like thrift contribution so much. I've heard stories of he ran away with my money, I never got my money complete. We can avoid all those kind of situations right now by having a savings investment. And then you're not going to be putting it in a commercial bank. No offense to commercial bank, and then they start accumulating interest or they have deduction. No, whereby you can put your money to work even while you're resting, and the money appreciates in value over time, right? Imagine investing, maybe starting your investment plan with maybe 10,000 naira, 50,000 naira for your child, a baby, a month old, and you have a direct debit system that allows you to put a certain amount in that account on a monthly basis, weekly basis, or yearly basis, right? And you increase the amount. By the time the child is 18, 19, 20, you have more than enough in the savings to feed for our education, probably accommodation, or whatever career path that child has decided to go on. So it's basically saving their dreams and investing in their future. And you can do that for yourself as well as a parent. Set aside a little amount in an investment account that appreciates in value over time. And when you need it, you can go back to it.
Yeah, I mean, that's really an interesting one. I hope you guys are listening to this because it's really a take home. Let's hear from Hajia Madeenat. What can you tell people? What investment options can you advise people to tap into?
A journey of 1,000 kilometers starts with a step. So if you are waiting to become a millionaire or billionaire before you start living the kind of life you want to live, it may be impossible. So all you need to do is whatever you are earning today, you just have to set aside something by contacting the investment experts. Hajia Zainab is here and available to a guide on how you can open an account for the children, because better to put your children in a comfortable startup point than to just leave them just like that. If you are going for what is it called, relay match, the starting point is very, very important. You understand? But to start on the negatives and ground, there's no doubt that best will not come in shining color. So when you start your child with right investment plan, you understand, you put some stuff aside for them, it makes it easier for them to live the kind of life that you actually want for them. So I would advise that the experts are available, especially on the halal, because whatever you are doing should be in tune with your faith, with what you believe in. So it's important to reach out to experts, especially the halal investment options, so that whatever you are earning, there will be barakah on it. It's not enough to just earn. Some little stuff go a very long way once it's blessed. So I would suggest that today, even if you have not started yesterday, it's not too late. Contact the investment expert. Hajia Zainab is down and she knows everything that you want to know about investment. When you contact them, then you are able to put your child in a very comfortable start point. That's what I will say, because our own generation, we benefited immensely from our parents. I also advise parents, especially fresh young single ladies and grooms, all that, to start having that discussion. You can stay for your good
I would like to most definitely like to add to what Hajia has said, most especially when it comes to planning. Like I said, for individuals, like you do not need to understand the fact that fingers are not equal, right? You can have a 6-figure salary earner, you have a 3-figure, in fact, a 1-figure salary earner. I don't know if that is possible at all, but there is. But in this case, you need to seek the proper consultation, right? Go to the right fund managers so that you can afford all these avoid all these Ponzi schemes, all these illegitimate funds and unregistered companies. So you need to seek out a proper fund manager. The reason why you have these fund managers is because they are experts in their field. They know what to go into at what time and what is selling at what point in time. So when you go through the right fund managers, you know that they are going to do good things for you. And when you consult them, you are able to explain to them your income, how much you spend, how much you are willing to save, right? And that way they will be able to formulate a plan for you, right? Apart from mutual funds, there are several investment opportunities that are open to Muslims most especially. And I believe we have several outlets in Nigeria. Even aside Marble Capital, you have the like of Lotus, you have the like of Stanbic IBTC Ethical Funds. There are several options out there. Go through the registered channel and then educate yourself, please. Even before you consult these fund managers, make sure that they are fund managers with good track records, right? They have good track records. They have been dealing in funds, and the kind of experts they have are people that can be of help to you, right? So it's halal investments is all about transparency, trust, and most importantly, faith. So make sure whatever you're doing does not go against your belief, and you know you sleep at night peacefully, knowing that whatever you're invested in is fine with you, and you definitely get your returns at when due.
Yeah, I love the fact that you said whatever you're doing, you make sure it goes in line with your faith. I mean, at the end of the day, ethical finance or non-interest finance goes beyond maybe the general thought that it's Islamic finance. It's probably just segregated to the Muslims, because at the end of the day, it's not only Muslims that have faith. The non-Muslims also have faith. So what does your religion say? It's really beyond just ethical finance or alternative finance. At the end of the day, you make sure whatever you're doing, it aligns with your inner thought and your faith. But I would like us to really narrow down this to savings for families. I mean, it's almost metaphorical to mention family and then to mention savings and to mention spendings, because if you mention family, automatically spending is involved. So now you have a family, you have children, you have relatives, you have aunties, you have uncles, you have parents, probably extended family and all of that. As a family, either large or small family, how do you manage savings, especially in this high inflation economic state of the country? How do we advise people to save despite these hard times?
Rama, when you mention savings and family. It's like what an opposite.
Honestly.
It's when you say that what's the opposite of family? It's no more single, it's savings.
Exactly.
Because even as a single Pringles, like we like to call it, when I think about the amount I spend on myself alone, I can only imagine how ridiculous it is at this, most especially when you're even as a family of 2, as a family of 4, as a family, and the height of it for me, family of 6 and more. Those ones are boss. They are just boss. So for me, like we said, like Hajia said, I would like to pick from what Hajia said the other time, that when you fail to plan, it's going to be an issue. And I think in those state of the economy, as at the time we had our parents that were running polygamous family and they have many children, there were means to provide for those children. Right, it was within their financial capability. Things were good. The economy was good. The market, most especially when most of them were merchants. Right, it was good then. You cannot compare that to the kind of economy you have now. I feel like couples need to understand, most especially couples. I'm not talking about couples that break up after a few days. I'm not talking about your boyfriend and girlfriend here alone. Yeah. I'm talking about someone you're willing to settle with and have a family with. You need to plan. The moment you have made that plan to get married, you need to put into consideration the people that you are bringing into this world as well. That is your children, if you choose to have any. Yeah. Because as at the moment you are giving birth to them, people might not like this word, it's a liability on you. That means you're taking on extra responsibilities as a parent. It's no more 2 mouths to feed. It might be 4 mouths to feed, 6 mouths to feed. Right? So the moment you give birth to those children, you need to plan, okay, what school do my children need to go to? The state of economy right now, is it going to get better anytime soon? Okay, how much am I spending on a daily basis? You need to plan to the last kobo, and I'm being serious right now. Most especially when you know the kind of life you want to live for yourself. People ask me questions sometimes, how do you set this kind of standards for yourself? What are you looking for in a man? When it all boils down to it, I tell people that you are accustomed to a certain lifestyle. Right. Some people have very expensive taste. Some people have less expensive taste. You need to build your life, right, according to your targets. Sure. Your life, it's about life expectancy. Honestly, you can't expect someone like me that's probably used to eating maybe a certain amount of food. I'm not going to tell you. You won't know. You'll never find out. A certain amount of money, and then I have a family of 4 and I have to reduce it. Sure. It will bear on you. Your guilty pleasures, you need to fulfill them for you to feel sane as a human being. It's not about savings alone. It's only somebody that is comfortable and sane. In this Nigeria right now, for you to be sane, it's difficult, right? But if someone that is sane and comfortable and plans well, right? Okay, when my salary comes in, I have to pay my children's school fees. Right. I have to buy food in the house. I have to pay my rent, right? I have to do this and that. How much do I have left after all that? How much can I put into savings? Right? Like I said, different kind of savings plan. You have a family, you can have a joint investment account. Yes, you can have a children's account, right? For you that might not be able to separate your children's account from your own account, you can have a joint investment account for your family, specifically for your family, right? Whereby you put certain amounts into it, and when it's time to pay for your children's school fees, you know where to pick it from, right? When you have to put your hands in your pocket and take them to the park, you know where to take it from. So that way you can manage your expenses and merge it with the kind of income that is coming into the family. Whether you have a one-man working kind of family or a 2 parents working kind of family. That way you'll be able to target where the money is going into, how much you're spending, how much you're saving, and how much you're spending on your guilty pleasures as well. I keep saying guilty pleasure because I'm a big fan of it. So,
All right. Thank you so much for that, Olaitan. Let's hear from Hajia Madeenat. What are your thoughts?
Yes. Ever wonder why some families are not complaining, despite the fact that we go to the same market, we buy from the same places these days? It's because they plan and they invest. At the end of the day, even though they are not able to get as much as they want, they are still comfortable, kind of, okay? They still have a fallback. But when you just leave everything to the day and say, let the day come and let the day go, it doesn't work like that when you have family. Because there are some things that the family will depend on that they are necessity, so to say. They are not luxury.
Right.
And let's compare ourselves with the white folks. They don't joke with their holidays. Not that they earn better than we do, but because they know that holiday and recreation and all that, they are all parts of life.
Right.
Okay? So they from the beginning, they have it in their program that, okay, this is how we want to live. This is how much we want to spend. No matter how tight the budget is, we must set aside this. At the end of the day, they are a bit more relaxed. Then their health issues, they don't have health issues. You know why? Because they have less to worry about. If the food quantity they are going to take is going to reduce, they would have known from the beginning. You understand?
Sure.
But when you just live it to the day, now look at the inflation rate around us now. I can't even quantify it. I don't know whether it's 500%, 200%. So you can imagine someone that can just be living on a daily basis. So now, how do you cope? The salaries are not being increased, the labor is on strike, and all that, even though they've called it off now. What I'm saying in essence is that whether we like it or not, for you to have a happy family, you must learn to invest. You must learn to set aside. And most marriages that have issues, without any fear of whatever, 70% are finance issues.
Right.
Most people, maybe the wife is a reckless one, or the husband is a bit on the spending spree. So when you don't plan all those things from the beginning, it leads to conflicts. That's why it's very important. You want to have a happy family, you must learn to manage your finances. It's very, very super important.
Sure. Right. Thank you so much, Hajia, for that. I think this our next topic, our next talk is going to be that targeted directly at you because Olaitan and I'm not sure we can relate, but then still yet, we're still going to have you come in on your professional view. So it's savings for children. I mean, this is almost an untapped territory. I mean, parents neglect savings for children, not realizing how important or how integral it could be. So how can parents save for children, and what are the investment options for savings for children?
I like that question. Do you know that putting aside as little as 100 naira for a child, at the end of the day, by the time you now sit back and wonder where is this money coming from, it will shock you.
Right.
It will shock you because little drops of water makes an ocean. So and then by the time you inculcate that saving habit into the children, they end up having a more disciplined life. It goes beyond what you put aside for them. It also helps in their orientation. So that they know that you don't eat with your 10 fingers. You must put something aside for the raining day. You understand? So it's very important. Then you start from the naming ceremony gifts that you get for the children. When people come at any names and say, this is for the baby, that is for the baby, you understand? If I actually set only 20% of that money aside and you now build on it, by the time the child is 18 years and you go into the account, it will surprise you. Right. It's just a matter of discipline, and we just have to discipline ourselves because that is where things are now.
I don't know why I find this funny. You know why? Because it's so nostalgic and it takes me back to visitors coming to the house and giving us money. And our parents collect it and say, let me keep it for you. Where does it go to, please?
Because story, actually, I can remember growing up, right? I had a very, very dubious uncle. Don't get me wrong, he's a nice man. So anytime they give us money, You'll say in Yoruba, there's a very popular car dealership in my hometown there. You say, if somebody else comes and gives me money, my mom will collect the money. I say, let me keep it for you. So at one point I got tired because I was saying, all this money I'm collecting, it should have been plenty by now. It's enough to buy motor from Okoro. And I can buy other things for the car with the ones with my mom. And then I end up going to my mom. I will say, Mommy, this person gave me money this time. Even those ones I don't remember. Where is all my money? My mom will say, the shoe you wear for Salah, where did you think it came from? Your graduation clothes, where did you when you went to Mr. Biggs the other day, where do you think the money came from? I used the money now. Okay, no problem. Mommy, you have used your own money, no problem. Uncle, let's go and buy a car from Okoro. So my uncle said, no. Okoro has moved from Nigeria and he has went away with all our money. So I think, from because of the kind of nature of the family I grew up in, I grew up with parents that were a bit enlightened. Thank God for that. And I believe that was as a result of the impact that was laid on them from their parents, which is a legacy. Like you said, Hajia said the other time, and I was going to say too that investment is not just sitting aside. It's a legacy that you build and you inculcate on your children. You cannot exhibit knowledge that you have not inhibited, right? So I believe that when I was small, my mom would say, "Oh yeah, this is your they usually call it colo.
Yeah, colo.
Your piggy
Bank.
piggy bank, and I'll put money into it. I will continue adding. Anytime my mom gives me feeding allowance, she will purposely give me extra to see what I was going to do with the money. And I can remember on my 10th birthday, I broke my piggy bank. Then imagine that time, and the money was 5,000. I felt like a king. That I have finally arrived. And then growing up, it made it easier for me to go into investment and savings. Like I said, you cannot exhibit what you have not learned. That is the learning aspect of it. And from the finance aspect of it as well, I believe, like I said earlier, there are several investment opportunities out there that can be tailored suit for you, that can be tailor-made, right? That suits your perfect plan, right? From joint investment to individual investments and investing on behalf of minors. There are several organizations out there now that are registered, that are known, and have proven to have good track records. Like I said, you have the likes of Marble Capital, you have the likes of Lotus, Stanbic, and so many more. So learn now to take action, not just for yourself, not just to ease financial burden on you, but also to build a legacy for your children and their own generations to come.
Yeah, thank you so much, Olaitan. I believe this brings us to the end of our show for today. It was really an enlightening one. This last part especially, please parents, like Hajia has rightly mentioned, start from that 100 naira, from the money you contribute or you gather from naming ceremony. Do not waste it on luxury things, but you could share or, divide it, save some for rainy days and for the children, and then you can use some for your day-to-day activities. And I would like to appreciate you for coming on the show, Olaitan. Thank you for coming to the studio, and thank you for sharing your knowledge and, elating the moment to thank you for your knowledge and your excitement. And thank you, Hajia Madeenat. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing your motherly advice and knowledge to us. And I hope the viewers also, do really appreciate and understand everything. So thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you. I like every knowledge and idea shared today, especially the part where Hajia said it doesn't have to be really extravagant or big. You can start with that 100 naira. I mean, from the naming ceremony money you get, do not just spend it on lavish or leisure things, but you can rather share, save some for rainy days, especially for the children, and then you can use some for yourself. Well, with that, I say don't forget to keep it today with us next week on the program. Follow us on all our social media platforms displayed on the screen. Thank you for watching. I am Rahma Say Muhammad.